What's your favorite kind of dessert?
Definitely a chocolate chip cookie.
What's your favorite kind of dessert?
I love chocolate pudding.
Chocolate!
Definitely anything with chocolate.
Chocolate!
Everybody loves chocolate, especially people with a sweet tooth. But have you ever wondered about the story behind chocolate? And can this sweet treat actually be good for you? Let's start by talking about where chocolate comes from.
Chocolate originates from a cacao tree. The scientific name for this tree is Theobroma cacao. The word Theobroma literally means elixir of the gods, which tells you something about how important the cacao tree was for ancient civilizations. The cacao tree is a member of the Malvaceae family of flowering plants. These trees are extremely picky. They have to be grown within 20 latitudinal degrees of the equator. This is because they require temperatures to be about 60 degrees and they need a long rainy season. But within this distance, the tree can thrive at nearly any altitude. The cacao tree can grow up to 25 meters tall in the wild, but domesticated cacao trees only grow to be about 3 to 5 meters tall. As you can see, the trees have dark green, leathery leaves which form a large canopy. Once they reach maturity, which takes 8 to 10 years, the trees produce cacao pods which can be green, yellow, red, or purple in color. Each mature pod contains about 40 beans protected in a sticky white pulp. The pulp has a sweet taste, which helps the spread of seeds because pollinators like to eat the pod contents. There are 3 varieties of cultivated Theobroma cacao. Criollo was the first to be grown in Central and South America, but it was highly susceptible to pests and diseases, so the Spanish, Portuguese, and Dutch populations cultivated the Forastero type, which was more resilient and productive. Trinitario was a hybrid between Criollo and Forastero. The Forastero variety is the most popular today.
So how did those cacao beans become this bar of chocolate? Well, there weren't always chocolate bars. Back in ancient times, I'm talking 1000 BC, Mayan and Aztec civilizations used to drink chocolate as a bitter beverage that was reserved for high-ranking males, like priests or government officials. They would roast and grind the cacao beans into a powder that they would then mix with herbs, chili powder, or honey to make the beverage.
Modern techniques for processing cacao involve roasting the beans, cracking them into chunks called nibs, winnowing, which is blowing air to remove the husk material, grinding into a powder, and heating the powder into chocolate liqueur. This chocolate liqueur is just cocoa particles suspended in cocoa butter, but it's the basis for all chocolate products.
To make a bar of chocolate, the manufacturers have to add things like butter, milk, and sugar, lots of sugar, before kneading the mixture, then tempering it, which means they put it through repeated cycles of heating and cooling it, then pouring it into a mold, and then finally allowing it to cool into a chocolate bar. So that's how cacao is processed, but where did it come from in the first place?
The cacao tree originated in South America. It was brought to Europe in the 1500s when the Spanish brought it back from an expedition. Commercial trade of cacao beans began soon after that, and chocolate quickly spread to the rest of Europe. European nations developed cacao plantations in the West Indies and modern-day Brazil. In the 1700s, cacao trees were cultivated in Asian countries such as Indonesia. By the 1800s, the French and Portuguese spread their plantations to Africa, particularly Ghana, Nigeria, and the Ivory Coast. Worldwide cacao production totaled 3.7 million tons in 2008. Cacao export is dominated by the few top producers. Over 70% of the world's cacao is produced in Africa, but the Ivory Coast alone produces nearly 40% of the world's cacao. The consumption of chocolate is growing worldwide at an annual rate of 3.2%. As you can see from this chart, the United States, marked by the light blue line, is actually more moderate in per capita consumption than Western Europe.
I mentioned earlier that chocolate might actually be good for you, and it's true. Medicinal uses of chocolate date back to ancient Aztec civilizations. We know this based on manuscripts like the Florentine Codex, written by a Spanish priest who studied Mexican cultures and ethnobotany. Apparently, the Aztecs drank the chocolate beverage to treat stomach and intestinal issues, like diarrhea, and to treat infections. Drinking chocolate was also used as part of a ritual to ward off seizures.
The list of physical ailments that were traditionally treated with chocolate also included fever, constipation, dental problems, dysentery, indigestion, gout, heartburn, and hemorrhoids.
The beans weren't the only part of the cacao tree that were consumed. The bark was eaten to relieve stomach pain, The flowers were used in baths to reduce fatigue, and pregnant women would eat the pulp from the cacao pods to facilitate childbirth.
Today, dark chocolate has been mentioned to have numerous health benefits. You can find dark chocolate almost anywhere in stores these days. Check it out. The three main chemical compounds in cacao beans are caffeine, theobromine, and phenethylamine. These are all types of alkaloids, which are psychoactive compounds. You know about caffeine, it's a stimulant and has vasodilatory effects. Theobromine is very similar to caffeine, but a bit weaker. Phenethylamine is a neurotransmitter that causes dopamine to be released, which enhances your mood. Another compound in chocolate is epicatechin, which is a flavonoid that has high antioxidant capacity. Antioxidants are helpful because they inhibit the oxidation of other molecules. Oxidation occurs normally in the body during metabolism. When molecules are oxidized, they lose an electron and become a free radical. Free radicals are extremely unstable and want to grab an electron from another molecule. This sets off a chain reaction of stealing electrons from other molecules, which eventually damages cell proteins and DNA. Antioxidants can give up an electron and still be stable, so they stop the chain reaction. The biological benefits of antioxidant compounds found in chocolate have been linked to anti-inflammatory capabilities, increasing HDL cholesterol levels, lowering LDL cholesterol levels by inhibiting lipid peroxidation, decreasing cancer risk by inhibiting DNA breakage, and reducing cardiovascular disease risk due to the high presence of minerals such as magnesium, copper, potassium, and calcium. I bet you've been wondering what distinguishes dark chocolate from milk chocolate. The difference is in the percentage of chocolate liqueur. Dark chocolate contains at least 40% chocolate liqueur, but it can consist of up to 100%. Milk chocolate normally contains only 10 to 12%. This means that dark chocolate contains a higher percentage of solid cacao bean particles, so it retains the health benefits of raw cacao more than milk chocolate. Dark chocolate is richer in polyphenol compounds and in minerals.
Chocolate has been an influential product for thousands of years, but in today's society, we add so many unhealthy ingredients to raw cacao beans that its health benefits are outweighed by the high sugar and fat content in most popular forms of chocolate. Chocolate consumption is increasing worldwide, but that's not necessarily a good thing. I would suggest reaching for a bar of dark chocolate before reaching for a bar of milk chocolate. But remember, everything is better in moderation. Thanks for watching.